Hello, good evening. It's Dr. Trudy Ufondu of Snowspirations Global Health Solutions. Thank you and welcome to today's edition of Snowspirations live YouTube broadcast. Today we're going to talk about this important topic to everybody, but we're going to concentrate more on women. So we're going to talk about sex, which is very important. Sex is a topic that is rarely talked about. And most times, because we don't talk about it often, we begin to experience problems. Now we're going to talk about an aspect of sex, which is very important. We're going to talk about orgasms or climax or come. So depending on where you're coming from, depending on your orientation, depending on your country of origin, there are different things you can call climax, orgasms, come, different things. It's simply what you need to know. It's simply what everybody has to experience, both women and men. Unfortunately, when you compare men and women, when it comes to sexual satisfaction, the way the body of a man is structured is entirely different from the way the body of a woman is structured. So men can easily achieve satisfaction and have climax, orgasms, come. Because most sexual encounters in men will lead to ejaculation. Ejaculation on itself is part of orgasms in men. Now, for the women part, is an entirely different whole process. It's a complex process. So there are steps. Sex on its own is a process. So it's something you learn. It's something you experience. It's something you get better with when you know better. So one of the tools you need to get the best aspect of sex is what? Knowledge, attitude, practice, and perception. So the basic knowledge of sex can determine if you are actually gonna get the benefits, because everybody is structured to engage in sex. When you're engaging in sex, two different roles, procreation and pleasure. Procreation and pleasure. I mean, the procreation aspect is, through sex, you have to bring forth your babies. The pleasure is also the satisfactory aspect of it. But lately, we focus only on the issue about bringing forth babies. But guess what? Both of them are interchangeably important, because when you're having fun, when you're having pleasure, you can also make babies. So for you to make babies, you have to engage in lovemaking, which in our group, we encourage you to make love 48 hourly. So if you have to make love 48 hourly, think about it. You have to know how to make love. And you have to, make sure you get the dividends, you get the buy-in effect. So sexual orgasms or climax or come, it's the end product of mutually interested, communally, mutually agreed process. So when both parties are on the same page, then both parties can experience this. It's something that everybody has the ability to experience. Unfortunately, majority of women out there are not experiencing this. So this is the basis for my discussion this evening. And we're going to be very straightforward to the 5 reasons which might be standing in your way of experiencing this. So I'm going to quickly start. So I want you to just sit back, take notes of your questions, and afterwards we're going to talk. Now, what's climax to start with? So this is sexual excitement, which is characterized by feeling of extreme pleasure centered around your genitalia. So when we talk about genitalia in males, we talk about the penis, we talk about the scrotum, we talk about the testicles. So those are the genitalias in men. Now, some other areas in the man's body can also lead to excitement. But the central place where you can feel a lot of excitement in cause of sexual practice is what? In the genitalia in men. Now, for the women, it's an entirely different bottle of fish. Now, for the men, part of orgasms will lead to ejaculation. So ejaculation means the emission of semen, which you can see with your eyes, inside which you have the sperm. Now, for the women, orgasm, it's kind of series of rhythmic contractions. So contraction is definitely involved. What leads to contraction in a woman is a particular hormone we call oxytocin. So when a woman is engaging in mutually agreeable sexual encounter, when the end of that sexual encounter comes for the woman, if she's deriving a lot of pleasure from it, within the time she's going to climax, she will have a lot of contractions. These contractions can be felt in the womb, It can be felt in the vagina, and it can be felt in the pelvic floor muscles. In some women, orgasms can also be a buildup of sexual tension caused by lovemaking and self-stimulation. So don't rule out the aspect of self-stimulation. And by the time we go further in our discussion, you can see that some women can actually achieve orgasm by self-stimulation through the process of masturbation. Now, they can achieve this, but in course of sexual practice, they might not be able to achieve this. We're going to go down and see why. So in women, there are so many things that happen in the pelvic floor muscles when you are achieving this orgasm or climax or come. In some other women, they will have this feeling of warmth throughout their whole pelvic region. And in some other women, they will tell you, I don't even know how to discuss it. Now, let's go down to the likely things that might be leading to your inability to experience this heaven on earth. If you haven't experienced this, don't say, oh, it's not my portion, I don't do this, I don't do that. You can experience this if you work on the problems that might be standing on your way in experiencing this. Now, orgasmic problems can be primary or secondary, just like we have primary and secondary infertility. If you have primary orgasmic problems, it means that as a woman, you have never experienced what I just described. So if you've never had this definition and the description I gave, then you have what? Primary orgasmic problems. If you have experienced it in your past relationships or by yourself or for whatever in the past, but right now you are not able to experience this, then you have secondary orgasmic problems. Okay, so we have primary, if you have never, and secondary, if you were in the past, but currently you're not able to achieve it. Now, what's the number one factor that can stand in the way of a woman experiencing this? By default, you should know this. Problems in your relationship. You see, men and women are wired differently. Women connect more in a homely connectivity, kind of heart-to-heart intimacy. There has to be a connection between a man and a woman for you to come full and participate. This is not the same for the males. And it's partly due to the way the anatomy, the male reproductive system is compared to the women. This is a major factor. So problems in relationship, if you're not in the right place with your partner, if you guys have a lot of unresolved issues, if you guys are both inexperienced, if you are not stimulated sufficiently, the body of a woman is like a process. There are certain things you have to do before you unlock it. In the course of lovemaking, there has to be a build-up. There has to be foreplay. If this foreplay is missing, if you guys are only going there for baby-making purposes, then you might have a problem. And unfortunately, infertility can cause problems in relationship. So if the woman is not sufficiently stimulated, she's not going to release her fluid. She's not going to be ready. She's not going to be wet. She's going to be in pain. Her libido level will be affected. So this can present as inability to achieve orgasm during sex, because during this, you are not able to do this. Now, in some women, they are able to achieve orgasms by self-pleasure, which is done through masturbation and toys and what have you. Now, I'm not here to preach about what you do or what you don't do based on your religion or based on your cultural practices. I'm only here to tell you what I know. Some women derive joy when they are spending their me time, but when they are with their partner, they don't derive this joy. It's fundamentally a relationship problem. Some women can find pleasure just being in their own being in their own environment, but when they get together, they begin to have a lot of things that will be cloud their mind in being present. So many women are not present when it comes to lovemaking. So many women are traveled. You know, that's the time you begin to think about so many things that happen in the day. You begin to think about what you have and what you don't have. But most men are there in the moment. So this could be the major problem in so many relationships. Now, if you can work on your relationship problems, part of which is communication, getting knowledge. The knowledge about sex is not a taboo. Unfortunately, it's spiritualized. We rarely talk about it. Your mom will not tell you, your father will not tell you. The ones you know is the ones you know by yourself, or maybe your peer group. But if you work on your relationships, definitely you will perform better. The second factor is worry about sexual performance. This also centers on CAP. CAP means What is your knowledge about sex? What is your attitude towards sex? What is your perception towards sex? How are you practicing it? If your cap is flawed, if your cap is on the negative, then by default, you will feel you are not performing. Then depending on the type of relationship you have with your partner, if your partner is the type that is always criticizing you or telling you don't do this or you don't do that, or you feel like you're catching up, or you feel like you're just satisfying him and you don't feel that you matter in that particular time, then you're going to have performance problems. So it depends on your orientation. It depends on your upbringing. It depends on your culture, your religion. Generally, in most developing countries, women feel they are secondary, which is very, very wrong. Men use that connotation of women are the weaker gender, and they begin to see them like toys. They don't really allow them to express themselves. If you find yourself in this situation and you feel like you have to catch up, you have to prove yourself to your man to meet up with whatever story he told you, you begin to hate yourself, you begin to judge yourself, you begin to have negative thoughts. When you bring negative thoughts to your lovemaking, it's going to yield negative results. But when you're okay with your body, when you love yourself the way you are, body, mind, spirit, you are gonna come, you are gonna yield. And when you do this, you might be in a better position to experience orgasms. So number 2 point is also important. Number 3, this is major. So many women have mental health problems. Infertility and gynecological problems and health problems can lead to a lot of mental health problems. Top on the list in mental health problem, depression and anxiety. When you are going through depressive mode, when you have mood swings, when you're not in a good place, when you're constantly sad, when things that used to make you happy is no longer making you happy, when you're stressed, when a whole lot of things are not going the way you planned it, when you wanted to have 5 kids, but right now you don't have any, and it's 20 years, it begins to lead to a lot of mental health problems. Unfortunately, if you're living in a society where mental health is stigmatized, you will not seek that help. And your partner will still be expecting you to be yielding, to be making love to him when you're not in a good place. So if you have depression or anxiety or other mental health problems or physical health problems, they can have direct impact in your ability to get satisfaction and also to achieve orgasm. So what do? If you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you have stress, if you have any medical issues, please go seek help. If you can fix your medical problems, then you can improve your likelihood, the probability of having your orgasm, because God already gave you this. Now, the 4th problem are gynecological problems. Now, some women might have so many gynecological issues: fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, dysostosis, this cyst, polycystic this, polycystic that. So many things going on in the body of a woman. If you are having any gynecological problems, if you are having inflammatory problems, if you have any infection, they can affect your ability to derive the joy that God gave you. So what do? If you have fibroids, meet with your partner, meet with your doctor, find out the best way to deal with your fibroids. If you have endometriosis, seek professional help. If you have infection, seek professional help. Any gynecological problem you have, if we can resolve it, you are getting nearer to satisfying your sexual right. This is your right. Stop suppressing it. God has already given you this for a purpose. There's a particular gland in your body that gets excited when you see your partner. It's the way it is. It's not a sin. This is your body. And unfortunately, when you compare women and men, men have the ability to still be going way, way further down. Women, when you go into menopause, your libido is going to drop. You'll begin to experience hot flushes, dry vagina. The last thing on your mind is going to be sex. So you begin to run to lubricants and all that. And if you're looking for a baby, you have to be mindful of the type of lubricant you're using. So please deal with your gynecological problems. Now, the last point, which is actually the most important point. So many women had traumatic sexual experience. So if you were abused growing up, sexual abuse, rape, molestation, child labor, prostitution, all these will lead to what we call post-traumatic stress syndrome, which sexual inability to derive joy can present with it. So in the past, you got raped, you got abused. Maybe someone that should be protecting you was abusing you. So you had a very closed mindset about anything sex. So you've blocked your mind. Not that you cannot participate, but you've already blocked your mind. You have that traumatic experience. Anytime you're meeting with any man, you begin to replay what happened in the past. So this is a very big factor. Now, some women, unfortunately, depending on their family background, so many women were sold into prostitution. And some of them are rackets. So they might bring the girl and say, oh, look after my girl in Lagos or in Abuja. And the people that should be looking after them can be using them to be doing racket prostitution. When you happen to find yourself in this position, even if you love your partner 100%, then you have previous sexual traumatic experience. It's going to affect your ability to have a buying effect in the arena of lovemaking and also achieving orgasms. Now, to summarize, you have the ability, 99.9, if not 100% ability, to have a buy-in in lovemaking. There is nothing shameful, there is nothing sinful, there is nothing you need to start feeling bad and you need to spiritualize it. It's meant for adults. Ordinarily, for you to go down with anybody, you both of you must be on the same page, so long as it's mutually agreed on. So the moment you begin to acquire the right knowledge, like what we are preaching this evening, if you can yield, most people don't yield. Most people are not there. Most people are traveled. If you can be in the moment and you work on your relationship and you work on your worry and you trust yourself, you love yourself, tall, big, whatever it is, you love yourself, you love your body, then you begin to acquire knowledge. Some of you don't know how to make love. It's a process. Then you get help. Like in our group, we have the PDFs that can help you. You have gynecological problems, you find the right things to do. You don't abuse drugs. You have depression, you seek help. You have anxiety, you seek help. If you have problems with sexual abuse in the past, you can go for psychotherapy. You can go for therapeutic counseling. You can get help. Whatever happened in the past is in the past. Don't allow the past rob you of now. Okay? So thank you so much for coming. Now, I'm going to give us an opportunity to ask questions. So the floor is open. Feel free to ask your questions in real time. I'm going to provide you feedbacks. I'm also going to make my transcript available after this. If you were not able to participate in real time, it's okay. You can come back, but make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click on the notification button so that subsequently, anytime I come live, you can participate live. Share the channel with people. Tell them we are helping. We're just here to help. Okay, so share the whole thing. If you need help, you can get help. But right now, I'm going to give us an opportunity to get feedbacks. So go ahead and ask your questions if you have any, and I'll provide the feedbacks. Okay? We're going to wrap up our 20-minute mark. So if you have questions, please go ahead and ask, and I'll provide the feedbacks. Any questions? It looks like we're good. So I want to believe we are all professionals. I want to believe that if you're attending this gathering, you are actually maximizing your ability. It's already there. There's nothing to go and start, hiding about it. Okay? So Oluwatosi, you don't have a question. That's good. So Ebenezer, do you have any question? Feel free to ask your question before I go. Even if the question is not related to you, if it's just for knowledge's sake, and knowledge gain is something that can change your life anytime. So feel free. I have about 2 more minutes to go, and we can wrap up. And tomorrow, we'll find another topic, and we continue the conversation. Okay? All right. Okay. Awesome. So please, when you come in, the floor is now open for questions. I'm taking care of questions. Any question whatsoever about your performance, about your knowledge, about your fear, you have the right to experience sexual orgasms. It's given to you. When you were born, it's there. The same way men achieve this, you are meant to achieve this. If you are not achieving it, something is wrong somewhere, and it's your right, especially if you are younger. Because when you get older, there will be changes in your body, your hormones are going to change, and you might end up in your life not experiencing this. This is a fact. Men can at any age. The women, you have to work out your own salvation when you still can. Okay? So I will take it. We don't have any question. I'm still giving us an opportunity to ask questions. If you have any questions, please ask. Right now, I'll provide you feedbacks before I go. Or are we all shy? Are we all thinking, oh, if I ask this question, this person will think about this? Come on, we're all adults. Okay? If you have questions, ask. If not, Ebenezer, give me a signal so I can go. Okay. Guys, thank you for coming. I appreciate you guys. I see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check the notification button. You can share this video with your friends. You can share with your partner, and you can start talking about this. And be on the lookout for my transcript. Thank you for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until I see you, bye-bye for now.